There's a lot of new Pokemon news that has been revealed and theorized over the past couple of weeks, and in today's video, we will be talking about it all. There have been rumors of a new Pokemon Dungeons game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, and more to be revealed in a Pokemon Day Direct, so let's talk about it. First up on the list is probably one of the most exciting things, that being Scarlet and Violet DLC. Scarlet and Violet have been out for a couple of months now, and people are wondering, what's next for Gen 9? And since the last generation did DLC, people are thinking that this time around, DLC will happen again. Now, it's not just speculation. Inside of the game, you can find two Paradox Pokemon of Suicune and Verizon that are not currently in the game, which are rumored to be featured in some sort of DLC for the games. There's also a third legendary in some of the books that has been rumored to be a turtle related to terrestrialization somehow. Because of the eyes on the Terra hats, people think that there will be some sort of turtle third legendary related to terrestrialization. So although it hasn't been officially revealed yet, people think that DLC could be announced in the Pokemon Day Presents. Personally, I think that there is almost a 100% chance of this happening, as it would stir a lot of hype, and a lot of people think it will release late this year, and if that's true, it would make sense to announce it early. Oh, and people also think that instead of there being two DLCs, like in Sword and Shield, there will only be one that is supposedly bigger than both the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra combined. I think it's a little too early to guess how many DLCs will be featured in Scarlet and Violet, but maybe we will find out on Pokemon Day. And before we move on, a lot of people have been saying that the DLC could possibly take place in Kalos. Now, why do people think this? Well, one, Spain, the place where Paldea is supposed to represent, and France, the place where Kalos is supposed to represent, are geographically very close to each other, and if we take a look at the Paldea map, we can see a grayed out area in the top right corner, and if we take a look of Spain and France, yeah, it's very similar. Also, we never got anything for X and Y. No second versions, no Z version, and back then, there was no DLCs. X and Y was all we got, so remakes have to be released eventually, and it could be very unique for it to return in DLC. Also, all of the Kalos legendaries, mythicals, and starters are all transferable from Pokemon Home to Scarlet and Violet, which has been data mined since Pokemon Home integration isn't in the game yet. Next up, let's talk about a new Mystery Dungeons game that has recently been leaked. Now, I don't really care about Mystery Dungeons that much, but if you do, then you'll be happy to know that we will most likely be getting news about it on Pokemon Day. Spike Chunsoft, the developers of other Pokemon Mystery Dungeons game, have gotten a copyright text line in the files for the new Pokemon Together website, and since the only time that they have worked with Game Freak is for Mystery Dungeon games, it's safe to assume that a new one might be in the works. If so, expect to see news about it near Pokemon Day. Next up, let's talk about pure speculation. No proof for any of these, but just games that I would personally really love to see come to the Switch, starting off with a new Pokemon Legends game. Obviously, Pokemon Legends Arceus was known for just how good it was, compared to other Pokemon games, which shall not be named. It was the first true open-world Pokemon game with an alright story, which was better than any other Pokemon story we had on the Switch at the time, and was the best game, hands down, to shiny hunt in, thanks to being able to load and spawn super quickly. And because lots of people really liked the game, it would only make sense to make another one. The first Legends game took place in Hisui, an old Sinnoh, so where could a second Legends game take place? Personally, I would really love to see a Legends Hoopa game based around an old Kalos. Now you might think, if the Scarlet and Violet DLC were to take place in Kalos as well, why would there be two games to take place in Kalos? Why not make a second Legends game somewhere else? But Legends Arceus and BDSP both take place in Sinnoh and were announced and released very close to each other, so I think two Kalos games, or one Kalos DLC and one Kalos game, releasing close to each other isn't entirely out of the picture. Hoopa also has a lot of story with it, which is why I would pick it out of all the other Gen 6 mythicals. The main character could have been sent to the past by Hoopa's portals to do something, I don't know, I'm just saying I think it could 100% work. Speaking of old gens returning to the Switch, what about Black and White 3? Although I doubt Unova's Switch remakes would be just called Black and White 3, I do think that Unova remakes could release sometime soon, and could be announced in the Pokemon Day Presents. I don't really have any reasons for this, I just never played a Gen 5 game and would love to try one out on the Switch. And I think it's old enough to where it could possibly be released on a newer console. And last, but certainly least, is the filler stuff, such as Masters EX, Pokemon Unite, and possibly even a Pokemon Sleep announcement. If Pokemon Sleep is featured in this direct, I don't think anything big will really be announced for it. Maybe just it's still being worked on, or maybe even a release date for when we will get concrete news about it. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's not even being worked on and they will announce that it's canceled. Again, I don't really know, but I think that something about it will be revealed. And that is all my predictions for this year's Pokemon Day Presents. Let me know in the comments what you think about my guesses, and let me know your own down below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Adios.